Hey guys, welcome back to my channel where I aim to bring optimism and faith back into the lives of women who are navigating modern dating and love, societal pressure and timelines in their 30s. So if that sounds good to you, let's get right into it. Dating apps are a lot like resumes. People want to present the best version of themselves, which can sometimes mean exaggerating, omitting key details, or bending the truth to get more matches and dates. Here are some of the most common lies that I've personally come across on dating apps and the lessons that I've learned from them. Number one is height. Omitting height, adding a few inches, or magically becoming 6 foot tall. I once went on a dinner date with a guy whose profile didn't mention his height at all, and I overlooked the detail at that time. When I showed up for the date, I immediately noticed that he was at least 7 to 8 inches shorter than me. We both realized right away that it was just not going to work. But in order to be polite, we both sat through the most awkward 1 hour dinner date. Afterwards, we both ghosted each other. I'm personally not looking for someone who's 6 foot tall. I'm 5'6", so ideally someone who's just a little taller than me is fine. And so now, if a profile is missing height details, it always captures my attention. Number two is career and income. Director, entrepreneur, founder, with no company name next to the title. I once went on a date with a guy who had director listed on his profile. When we met on the date, he told me openly that his title was a bit inflated and he was actually working at a startup with under 6 people. He also admitted to me that he was looking for a woman who could manage finances and be the primary breadwinner in the relationship. It wasn't something that I was looking for, so we didn't continue dating. Another guy had entrepreneur listed, and as I continued chatting with him on the app, I found out that he was running his family business and he had no passion for it, but he had no other plans to do anything else either. Neither of these situations are inherently wrong, but the image that's being presented of being ambitious and driven is not matching reality. The third one is hobbies and personality. Photos of skiing, hiking, scuba diving, meant to say that I'm adventurous and outdoorsy. And sometimes it's guitar or salsa dancing, meant to say I'm artistic and fun. Sometimes these are real passions, but sometimes it's used to present an image that doesn't match the real personality. One of my guy friends has skiing photos on his dating profile, except that he went skiing almost 10 years ago a couple of times. I mentioned to him that his profile comes across as very adventurous and outdoorsy, when in reality, his lifestyle is not very active at all. He didn't remove the photos, but he did update some of the prompts on his profile to be more realistic. And eventually, he started organizing badminton games for the entire group every weekend, so he claimed that he is very active. I once dated a guy who had multiple guitar photos on his profile. My friend looked at it and said, maybe he doesn't even play that frequently at all. And that turned out to be true. But interestingly, it didn't bother me that much. When I got to know him as a person, he turned out to be very kind, sweet, sociable, ambitious, and fun to be around. Unfortunately, things didn't work out eventually because he was being very wishy-washy about what he really wanted in a partner. But that experience taught me not every exaggeration needs to be a deal breaker. And it's important to discern between what's a deal breaker and what's workable. The fourth is relationship intention. This is probably the most important category. A lot of people omit this information altogether, or they say they want a serious relationship, but their dating history and effort suggest otherwise. I don't swipe on guys who have omitted this information on their profile altogether. And for those who say that they want a serious relationship, when we get around to meeting in person, I always make it a point to ask them about their last serious relationship. How they answer the question tells you a lot. If they completely avoid the topic, become defensive or vague, it can sometimes point to unresolved baggage or hidden intentions. If they've spent years casually dating while claiming to want a serious relationship, I make a mental note of that because they can repeat that pattern. The green flag here is someone who speaks respectfully about their past relationships, takes accountability, and seems genuine in their intention. The fifth is appearance. Old photos, strategic angles, hats and sunglasses in almost every picture to cover up receding hairlines or bald spots. I personally try to give people a little grace here because we all start to age and change in our 30s. The sixth is age. Some men lower their actual age so they can match with younger women. So if something feels a little inconsistent, a quick LinkedIn or Instagram check reveals the truth right away. Number 7 is living situation. Living with parents or roommates isn't automatically a deal breaker. It's actually common in South Asian communities. But I find it important to ask, have they learned independence? Can they manage a household? Do they contribute equally in relationships and their overall idea of a partnership? Because sometimes people who have never had to manage their own home unconsciously expect their partner to take on majority of the domestic, emotional and financial labor in the relationship. The 8th is relationship status. Unfortunately, some men on dating apps are already married or partnered up, which is a complete deal breaker. There's even a group on Facebook called Are We Dating the Same Guy, in which women expose cheating, manipulative or dishonest men on dating apps. So if you haven't checked that out already, I highly suggest you do so. The next one is habits. Smoking, drinking, drugs. People often minimize or completely omit these details. Depending on your preferences, it can be workable or it can be a deal breaker. But remember, addiction issues or major lifestyle incompatibilities can become bigger problems later. So make sure you're paying attention to all these details. The last one is implied personality traits. This one is a little subtle. Photos of family or pets, quotes about meditation, spirituality, gratitude. None of these are bad, but sometimes they're used to create the impression of emotional depth, warmth, and long-term intention. I once dated a guy who had photos and quotes of all of the above, and I assumed that he would be emotionally mature and relationship oriented. Turns out he only wanted something casual and then ghosted me after a few weeks. This experience taught me that an impressive identity doesn't equal emotional availability. So why do men lie on dating apps? Well, there are many reasons for this, but the most common one is to increase their match rate. The average man has a match rate of about 5%, sometimes as low as 0.6%, whereas for the average women, it can be as high as up to 7 times that. Other reasons include to appear more attractive, to conceal their real intentions to hook up or explore something casual, or because of insecurity. A lot of people are trying to present the version that they think others want. Ironically, they end up attracting the people who don't like the real them. So what can you do about it? For one, you can pay attention to missing details on the profile and ask clarifying questions naturally. Learn to differentiate between harmless exaggerations and real incompatibilities. For example, in my case, the guy who exaggerated about his passion for playing guitar wasn't exactly a deal breaker. And lastly, don't continue dating someone hoping they'll change. As the saying goes, men marry women hoping they'll never change, and women marry men hoping they will change. So don't do that. And lastly, remember to present your real, authentic self. I personally noticed that when I'm authentic and vulnerable, sharing both my strengths and flaws, it helps the other person drop the performance too and start connecting genuinely. That's it for today, guys. Hope this video helped. Let me know in the comments below what are some of the lies that you've encountered in dating. And remember, keep choosing alignment and faith over timelines.